Hi everyone. Today is June 4th, 2015. I'm Colin Horgan, and this is SDX Crits playing Mega Man Legends Episode 3. So last time we left off going through the first little dungeon part after the tutorial, and we rescued the dancing shopkeeper guy. Now it's time to get on with the story. So, gonna load up the save file. Rolls wishing us luck again. Thanks so much. So, if I remember correctly, we're gonna be seeing a bit more story stuff, and then we're gonna get into the part of Mega Man Legends where just becomes boss fight after boss fight after boss fight. A really interesting, weird little choice of pacing, but we'll get to it more as we head on. Yeah, so if I remember correctly, I'm supposed to do something. Wow, this one's off to an awful start. Yeah, so I'm talking to Roland, and she's saying, "You go look for Gramps, okay?" So I remembered that he's in the mayor's office, so I'm gonna head back into the town. Gonna go back to my favorite little apple market with all the lovely banners and stuff. I hope that people who listen to the last one or me rant about how great Apple Market is. Maybe like went and saw some images or whatever, enjoyed my little music I included in there. As I'm talking about how pretty and great this area is, I'm just seeing a whole lot of white flickering on the ground, like these textures are flickering in and out. Oh, old 3D, I don't know, there's something cute. So walking back in after saving the shopkeeper and talking and going back to the car that Roll fixed up, I noticed that everyone's in a different position. This is kind of what I was talking about before, where a thing that I like about this game is how we have the same set of NPCs, but we see them over time and the different stories that they have evolve. And the first signifier that we have that things were changed is that they are all in different positions and doing different things. Some characters who were walking around before, or maybe standing still. Paprika and the dog's owner are in a different spot. And I'm reading all these guys, and they're like. Saying different things. Mega Man needs to get to City Hall, so they're whenever I ask people, they seem to say, "Oh yeah, City Hall, go here or whatever." But there's some kids hanging around the gate. So everyone's saying it seems like those rowdy boys that we talked about before are up to no good. But they're standing right in front of the door. So let's go talk and see what happens. Totally forgot about this, but I think it's one of the weirdest kind of funny moments in the game. As kind of an extension of the rest of the tutorial, I think this is the last time we're taught kind of a new part of the game. That is before we get new items and stuff that change how the game works. But so I go up to the three quote-unquote troublemakers who are standing by the entrance to the rest of the town that I need to go through, and they're blocking the way. And as soon as you walk up, it triggers a little scene where the camera pans into the guy with the bandana and says, "Hey, we're having a secret meeting. Get out of here." And then Mega Man has what I think is supposed to be an internal dialogue, but the text box doesn't distinguish. You could be saying this out loud. I don't know why you would do that, because he's talking about how he's going to sneak up on these kids. So he's saying I should be able to get close without them noticing, and the game instructs me that you can move slowly by pressing the circle button and the directional button at the same time. Read instructions again? No thanks. I think I got that. So, like I said, we're tutorializing a new kind of movement mechanic where you can move super slowly if you hold down the circle. But I'm pretty sure this is the only time in the game where you ever have to do that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, especially because you get an item later on that allows you to kind of do like a super run if you hold the same button that's supposed to be like the whisper walk button. But anyways, a weird little thing. I guess it's probably a signifier that they had some kind of like slow movement mechanic planned, or use of that mechanic somewhere that just got dropped. Good, like the way good game dev goes, where things come and go and fall. But whatever, you know. We'll see. I think there's some other things that kind of seem like that. I'll probably talk about them once I get to it, but so I slow walk up to the same trigger, but because I was in the slow walk state, triggers a different scene where we hear Jim, the big bully guy, saying, "Whisper, whisper, that girl looks suspicious, I tell you," going on about this girl that we still don't know who they are, but the little kid with the hair over his eyes suggests she has to be a pirate. She said she was looking for treasure. Note, note that we're the good guys because we are. There's not a lot to distinguish us, but I guess people just like Mega Man better than they do these quote-unquote pirates. Osh is whispering, "No one believes us. We're gonna have to get her ourselves." "Hey, someone's spying on us," says Bensley. Oh, I guess the little kid's Bensley. It's that blue guy again. Everyone refers to me as the blue guy. I'd almost think that was a joke if... I don't know, if I guess like that was the only distinguishable thing about him, that wouldn't be too weird to point out. But Jim, humph, come on everybody, let's go. And then they run in the opposite direction of where the pirate girl is, just to get out of your way. I wonder if I go talk to them again when they say, "Oh, he's talking with a paprika owner girl. Come on, sis." Oh man, they're related. Whoa, I didn't know that. I guess I never bothered to check to see if this scene even changes after you talk with these guys, but that's cool that the scene changes even after such a tiny little narrative moment. "Come on, sis, let's take Paprika. We're gonna find the pirates." Oh wow, and that actually does come up later on. I've missed that in every single playthrough I've played before. Cool. I mean, not that it does a lot, but that's okay. So I'm going to go in north, and I can get through this door, even though I don't think I have a citizen card yet. Anyways, I'm probably being on this. Oh, and cutscene. So we see a little surf bots, and the girl in her black and pink outfit. Again, great. Well, I guess it's more like a neon pink. It's good stuff. Pink gloves. I might wear that. I like the color combination. It's actually just like the ship, but not as faded and worn. Stands out a lot more. So she's saying that she's telling these surfbot guys that we need to do something. Stay on schedule. I don't know. They got cute little voices. Kind of funny. Interesting thing to know about this cutscene is that the girl is facing the opposite direction away from the camera until the very end, and then she turns around, looks at you. I guess it's supposed to be first-person perspective because it is right by the door where you enter the town. But anyways, and then she walks away and vanishes, with the implication that we're supposed to keep following her because she is a person of suspicion and note. So we get to the first major big part of this town, so past Apple Market, we are now... Just kind of jumped because I got hit by a car from off screen. Yeah, so something funny about this game, to kind of add to the quote-unquote realism or liveliness of the place, there's a, like figure-8 pattern road that goes around this section of the town, and it has cars that kind of drive in their set paths around it. But they have very little care for pedestrians, so you could straight up just get run over by these guys. I think sometimes they might stop for you if like you're standing there for a long time before they come up to you and you're not like just around a corner, but otherwise no mercy. They'll hit you and you actually take damage. I remember one time just getting out of a boss fight that took me a really long time, and it was very difficult, and I had 0 HP, and then I wasn't looking where I was walking and I got hit by a car. Got the game over and had to go all the way back because I couldn't save before then. That was very frustrating at the time, but now I think it's almost kind of funny. I just noticed that there's a crosswalk right next to the road. I wonder if I stand in it, if cars will actually stop for me. Okay, I'm gonna do a little experiment for science, and let's see if these cars drive better than Grand Theft Auto. Oh yeah, and there's a police car coming in. Oh nope, it didn't stop. It just kept going. I dodged out of the way though. So, anyways, so first big part of the town, we've got we see buildings for the first time and a bunch of nice looking pastel textures on these kind of like European looking homes almost. got a few different like home models that are repeated, but they're not repeated too often, and they're spaced out well enough that you don't even notice. Good playing with the limitations. And again, everything's kind of based out of these like squarish, rectangular, polygonal structures, and it still looks pretty good, especially because I guess the texture work does a lot to suggest depth and character. You know, like all the houses, like the windows have like flower boxes and, you know, shadows under the decals. And and I just found the one of the "Don't Kick Us" posters. I can't examine it, unfortunately. I'm sure Mega Man would have something funny to say, but yeah. So I mentioned in the last episode that in the Japanese version of this game, you could use the kick action that you get in towns to kick animals, and they would actually react to get hurt. It's very sad. But there's posters around that have like little birdies and a pig, which is weird because they don't look like any animal that's in this game. But yeah, just saying, don't kick us. Exactly like that. And there's a bird standing on top of a pig, and he has a little text box thing too, but it doesn't actually say anything. It's just kind of scribbles. Oh well. And I just noticed, so there's a bus actually stopped at a bus stop, and it waits for a bit before it starts moving as part of its route. That's really cute. These people are terrible drivers, though. I just saw a guy rear end the bus. Anyways, I guess it's just kind of none of the game developers probably expected someone to examine the car routes as closely as I am now, even though I'm just doing it idly. We got some lampposts that line the street, and they're also doing the tree trick, where it's just a single texture that rotates to kind of face the camera at certain degrees. But anyways, lots of space here. Like, this is the biggest, like, quote-unquote interior space. Like, we're surrounded by walls, even though we are still outside. I can see the lovely, very blue skybox. Oh, I just got hit by a car again, and it's dragging me along. Let's get out of there quickly. That actually took away like a whole health. These things do a lot of damage. So anyways, there's a bunch of NPCs that I could go talk to. You know, they have a nice flavor. One of the things they start doing is saying, you know, I'm talking to this lady that's kind of right by the entrance to the city. Haven't you heard about the pirates? Everyone in town's evacuating. You'd be smart to get out of here too. Again, it's going back to this detail I brought up before about something that this game does well, is kind of using the town, the people, the atmosphere, what they're saying, and the dialogue to all both kind of foreshadow what's going to happen next, hint at what the player is supposed to be doing, but also set the tone for the story, and kind of give a life to the game. Like, one thing about this game world I think that I didn't quite elaborate on last time, but I was hinting at, is it seems like it's going on without you. Like the world is not created for you. You are just a part of it, even though it's all a construction. Like, because everything is based on what you're actually doing, it is explicitly reacting to you, but in a way where it seems like it's not. It's just natural. You know, the lady's mentioning that, like, everyone's evacuating, and if I go and I, like, knock on people's doors by going up and examining them, you know, some, like, the one I'm reading right now says there's a piece of paper that says absolutely no solicitation. Oh, I thought that was going to be the one. There's one door that says, so the one that I just read says absolutely no solicitation, so those people could be there. But I remember seeing one that said, oh yeah, so there's a note that I'm reading right now, gone to relative's house. You know, there are, like, the whole idea is people are leaving their houses. You know, sometimes Mega Man says, like, it's quiet, it's empty. Sometimes you'll knock and they'll be like, oh, sorry, like, the person's not home, or like, we're trying to leave, or you'll overhear a conversation about someone saying like, oh, we're going to my mother's, or something. You know, like, there are people whose lives are being affected that we're actually you know, peeking into and reading and seeing as the player, which, you know, when I put it that way, it sounds kind of voyeuristic, but hey, at least I can't just, like, walk inside and break their vases like I'm in a Zelda game or something. Just reading one saying, you can hear voices inside. Old man. What? Run from the pirates? Never. I'm staying here. Women's voice. Oh, come on, Grandpa. What would happen if our house gets hit by a shell? You'll be killed. We've got to get out of here. Yeah, again, going to a very dark place, even though we've got this lovely music playing and the very bright, like, grass and sky combination and all these wonderful pastel houses. The whole you know, the whole setting, like if I just showed you a screenshot, it would seem almost serene, but we're getting these, you know, story kind of told to us bit by bit about how, like, we think this town thinks there's pirates that are going to attack, and like people are getting out of here. You know, I'm talking to this big rough guy who's saying, I know everyone's afraid and wants to get away, but they should be more careful when they drive. Oh, yeah, you better watch out too, and make sure. I wish you told me this a bit ago. But yeah, saying don't get hit by the cars. I guess so. So maybe even the car routes kind of play into the story. Everyone's trying to get out, so that's why they're driving recklessly and just running over people. So one thing I know just from previous playthroughs is that the trash cans in this area all have important things, except for this one, which says it's empty. Maybe they only have the important things show up once I get past, yeah, because every trash can I'm going and kicking, and it seems like they're all empty. Maybe I have to complete the next section before anything important will show up. Like there's an item that you can get in here that you can use to synthesize with another thing you found in the last area. Oh, this trash can is not empty. Just did the kick trick, as I mentioned in the last episode. If you kick a trash can in this game, the lid can fly off. The light flies off, it means there's something useful in there. If it doesn't fly off, you can examine it and you'll see that there's something inside that you can pick up, either money or an item. Oh yeah, so I've just found broken motor, which helps us get the vacuum arm, which is the second special item that you can unlock, and it's a rather useful one too, so I want to make sure I can have Roll make that as soon as possible. So anyways, probably enough talking about this area. Again, very nice, like, little details, like the lamppost, the bus actually stopping on a route, and all the cars driving around. I guess the NPC even mentioning that their reckless driving kind of has something to do with the atmosphere of everyone's trying to get out. Like, there are pirates that are about to attack. And you're like, well, the story hasn't actually said anything about pirates yet, but I'm kind of getting it through my own involvement and exploration in the world. And that's, you know, something I appreciate as the player of this game. Like, it's not babying me or trying to feed me anything. Like, everything that I get out of it is kind of a push and pull little dynamic, which is something that's echoed in the whole design of this game, with, you know, how there's so many things that you can find and explore and unlock that you never have to do to actually beat the game, but the game, you know, encourages you to do it because, I mean, it's more fun, and it you know, gets easier. You can you know, unlock new weapons to help you out against certain bosses or whatever. You don't have to, but yeah, so I'm talking with the police officer and saying, oh, you gotta go to the city hall over there, but just don't be loitering about. There's some pirates around, you should probably talk with them. Anyways, oh yeah, there's a sewer grate in the road that I can go into, and I didn't notice this until very late in my last run, just right in the ground. And if I go into it, I get put into this underground area, you know, the sewers, I'm assuming, with just a river of this really weird neon green texture that gets repeated and is floating down like a river, you know, to give the illusion of movement of water and grossness and junk. This must smell horrible, but it's really cool looking. I don't know, like, I don't know what else to say. There's like, it's like this glowy green, almost like irradiated water. Hey, maybe in this world, like, there was some disaster, nuclear war or something, that's why all the water glows green. But then you got these like a kind of orangey brown, like, which also look like almost like glowing wall textures. They have you know, use this like dark kind of cyan to contrast with the orange and make the, you know, complementary colors. And I don't think this texture shows up anywhere else in the game except for this one little sewer passage that you can go into, and then at the end there's a tiny hole that you can examine, and it does the dungeon entrance fade in thing again, and you're immediately placed in front of or behind two of the like super easy early enemies. You look down and, oh my gosh, you're in the dungeon where we saved the dude. We just found a shortcut to get on top of the ledge that I was talking about last time. Not that there's anything you can do here, but it's a cool little detail, and it starts to hint at the interconnectedness of this entire world, which is something I talked about last time, where every single dungeon in this game, besides the intro one and the last one, some other certain areas that you could argue are dungeons, I wouldn't say they are, but yeah, all of the entire like underground system, ancient ruins of this island are all connected, which is a cool little, maybe nod to kind of the Castlevania Metroid influences that are at play here, but also just like another way to show progression and encourage explorative play, which this game does a lot of. Anyway, so I just walked out of the more main city area, which is called downtown, into the city hall area, which is much more open, just lampposts and palm trees. Oh, such nice. It's funny, I have some friends who will make fun of me for talking about how much I like the palm trees, or at least I think I like the idea of palm trees, coming from a place where we didn't have palm trees, but it was kind of associated palm trees with niceties or the good life, being well off, able to live in a place where it's always sunny and palm trees can grow and it's always warm, away from the grossness of Connecticut summers and bitter northeast winters. Anyways, you get into the city hall area, and again, I'd like to talk about the framing of the camera right as you get in. So this, throughout most of this game, you control the camera, except when you're talking to people, in cutscenes or whatever. So where the camera is placed initially when you get into a new area does have significance, because it's one of the few times where the game can point you at something. And immediately what I see when I get into the city hall area is the grand, what I can assume even on the first time, city hall building, just top and center of the screen. There's a nice thirds composition thing going on here, where top, middle, third, we see the entire town, with the roads and the perspective pointing up, almost to a vanishing point right at the city hall. And that's where I need to go. That's my goal. The game is visually, subconsciously directing me to it. There's just a road that goes straight in front of me with lampposts on either side, so you get that perspective again, pointing towards a vanishing point at the city hall. And there's one prominent NPC here, which is the pirate girl, or the girl in pink that we gotta assume that everyone was talking about. Again, if I turn left and right, I see that this the beginning area of the city hall area is just one lower level and then one upper level, with the roads leading to the upper level. The entire lower level is just a loop of street, and within it is it almost looks like a park. It's just grass and palm trees, and if I walk over to it, there's like this nice cobblestone texture, like baby blue and soft beigeous orange cobblestone pattern that walks around. Like, again, if, as I said before, this looks like a world that I want to hang out with in, like, this part especially. If I go to one end of what I'm going to call this center park and look down, the way that the fog and distance rendering works, it puts everything in the distance in this soft white glow, so I just see a line of palm trees going out into the sky and the clouds fading into this kind of like warm whiteness and brightness. It's really maybe not tropical, but just warm and nice feeling. And it seems like, hey, like this would be a great beach day, or this would be a great day to just go outside, hang out with friends, whatever. But there's a police officer trolling around. I'm gonna see what he has to say before I go talk to the pirate. Huh? Don't you know that all civilians are supposed to evacuate this area? You're just like that girl over there. Don't you know you're supposed to do what adults tell you to do? Again, emphasizing how young these characters are supposed to be, which is something kind of new, I think, for this series, but also kind of emphasizes the... I hate keeping using this word, but the anime-ness of all this. That trend of Japanese games, especially around this time, late 90s and RPGs and stuff, where you had the cliche of the teenagers saving the world, with Final Fantasy VII making JRPGs super popular in North America. Most of that cast was like what, 17, 18. I think Cloud was supposed to be 21. Like Barrett was the oldest, or Sid was the oldest at like 30 or something. All these numbers could be totally wrong, but I feel like I have most of them right. And then you even have like a freaking Yuffie, who I remember was supposed to be 14, which is how old Mega Man and gosh, I forgot her name. Tron Bond, who we'll find out is the pirate girl that I'm talking about. One of the main antagonists of this game, and the pirate that everyone's talking about. As I go to the other side of this park before I talk to the girl, because I know it'll probably trigger a cutscene. There are some benches, which again kind of make me say this feels almost like a park kind of area. And the benches are, I don't even know what kind of material this would be, but they're like a sky blue and with this white circle pattern on top. It's so nice look. I can't even. I probably am hyping it up too much, but really like just the color palette of this one area is so warm and inviting, which is funny because it doesn't, I'm not saying warm as in like the kind of use of warm colors, but it just seems like a really nice place to be. It's so easy on the eyes and just draws you in. Everything, the palm trees, the cobblestone, the benches, the sky, the way everything just vanishes into the super blue sky. It's always a nice day here, which is wonderful, especially because we're going to be learning about a impending disaster. We want to enjoy the niceties while we can. So anyways, I see Pink Pirate Girl, so I'm going to go over and talk to her. I forget what happened, so let's see what she says. Yeah, so the camera moved, so we know that this is an important NPC. It's not just like anyone else. She says, huh? Camera moves again. This is the first time I think we've seen the camera move twice, except for like, a triggered scene. She's saying, what do you want? You've been following me around all day, haven't you? Well, I mean, only just this one time, but whatever. Sorry, I don't have time to play with you. Just stay out of my way, okay? And thus we start to get a bit of hints at the kind of, how would you say? I guess the more memey term is tsundere or whatever, but kind of relationship. Besides role, which I've always thought was kind of a weird relationship they try to set up with Mega Man. This character we'll find is the game's kind of main suggested love interest that they give to Mega Man, but anyways, that becomes more apparent as we get on later into the game. Not so much now when they've first met, but yeah. So let's head up to City Hall because this is what we have to do. So I go from this lower level to the upper level, and again, oh my gosh, I'm walking on the side of the road leading up to the upper level where the City Hall is, and I don't even know if this is supposed to be grass, but the ground texture I'm walking on is just like a pastel yellow and pink and a very soft green, and the way the colors work together, it just looks like a super fun playtime place. I don't even know, like something some kind of material I'd like put on the ground at a preschool or something in the best way possible. I mean, again, I implore people who are curious to just look at gameplay videos or screenshots of this game, because there's something amazing about how even with all the restrictions placed on making this fully 3D game in 1997 on a new hardware, they just knocked it out of the park with just good artistic direction, or strong and confident artistic direction. That's probably enough to talk about visuals, and there's a whole lot I could be exploring right now, but we are a very long time into this podcast, and I haven't advanced the story at all, so I'm just going to go into City Hall. Oh, officer, sorry, no unauthorized entrance allowed. Do you have business here? Okay, well, let's talk to the officer. Let's see what they have to say. Professor Barrel, yes, he's here. He's in a meeting with the mayor. Please wait 1 minute. Okay, so we've triggered a scene, and the officer goes and walks in very slowly. That's kind of unfortunate. Can't you speed it up a bit? Oh, but he walks right back. So I guess we are supposed to assume time skip. Saying, thank you for waiting. Go on in. Cool. So the game fades in and out, and we're into a new scene. Sorry, I'm not sure if you're able to hear that part. So I kind of lost my mic for a sec. Okay, so Beryl, or Gramps as I'm going to keep calling him, is introducing us to Amelia, the very blonde mayor of the town. And sorry, I'm not saying blonde as in trying to invoke any stereotypes or whatever. It's just this character's most distinguishing feature is just she has huge blonde hair. Anyways, it's almost like golden. Yeah, so the whole explanation of this cutscene is apparently Beryl and Amelia being the mayor, Beryl being Gramps, are old colleagues. Amelia studied under Gramps, and when his time as a professorship. But anyways, yeah. So, what a great coincidence. Anyways, it's another kind of thing that you might hand wave away, just because it's very convenient. So Gramps is saying, "I'll be here a while talking to Amelia. So why don't you go back and keep an eye on?" Okay, Gramps, are you trying to kick me out of here for some reason? This is kind of weird. But anyways, yeah, so they're basically just saying like, oh yes, everything's fine. Why don't you just go back outside and let plot happen? Which is, effective enough. I just noticed, I want to remark on that, so the Apple Market music plays throughout the entire town, but when I enter the mayor's office, there's a different soundtrack was playing. This is kind of more laid-back, chill piano piece with kind of jazzy drums. It's cool. Anyway, so I walk outside, and it's taking a long time to load, so I'm assuming, yeah, something's happening. So, not sure if you'll be able to hear that, but a text box pops up, and we hear the pirate girl say, "What? A dog?" And then we see her run across the screen with Paprika chasing her. We get a bit of a scene where we see her running through the door. I kind of want to say makes her seem a bit more relatable, or not relatable, but I wouldn't think that she's kind of a villain that I'm supposed to hate or anything. It's likable, like everything in this game that's not the super creepy stuff that happens underground. As we go down, I noticed that NPC layout has changed again. There's now 2 police officers talking with the little kid gang, the one with Jim Osh and the other guy. So I'm just going to talk and see there's 2 police officers talking with them. And they're trying to tell the police officers that the girl's a pirate. It's funny because the police officers aren't believing them. I think a funny little note is that when the police officer says like, you're accusing this girl of being a pirate. Didn't your mother ever tell you not to lie? Which I'm sure is making Jim very, very angry if I talk to him. It's true, officer. My Paprika found a suspicious-looking girl. She must be a pirate. What they don't really know is that I'm the real treasure hunter here. I'm the one who's going to suck this island dry. Paprika should be barking at me. But Mega Man, he's so lovable. I mean, everyone, even though he's a little blue boy and he's dressed like a robot, everyone, and his name is Mega Man, people will say, oh, that's such a nice name. Anyways, I walk back through into the other section of the city, and most of the NPCs who were here before are gone, and I think all the cars here are gone too, so everything's empty except for the pirate girl. Probably hinting that things are about to happen again. Like the way the city is changing, it's effective because one of the things we respond to naturally is just changed environment. That's a thing that we're tuned to pay attention to and see as important, just as a survival trait, or that's at least my understanding of the way human psychology works. Does, and it shows kind of one of these strengths, even though it might have been a limitation of just using one location for this entire game, the strength is by changing pieces we can convey important either gameplay or narrative details, like how this imminent invasion has caused an evacuation and the city is now empty, except for Pirate Girl, who again, like from a design perspective, points the player in the direction of what they're supposed to do to engage the narrative, but without hand holding or kind of pushing them along. Like we see Pirate Girl is up on a lamppost. Paprika's growling and barking at her, so I probably need to do something. So I'm going to talk to Pirate Girl first. She's all angry. What are you staring at? She yells at me. I'm not sure. Oh, I guess she's yelling at Paprika, saying, "Go on, get out of here." Paprika's just growling. Paprika really doesn't like this girl. I feel kind of bad. I'm almost not liking Paprika as much anymore. I mean, you were a cute dog before, but I mean, growling so much? Stop that. So a weird thing is you need to talk to Paprika. Mega Man says, you can't treat girls that way. I mean, you shouldn't treat anyone that way, Paprika. But, so an interesting note is, or not interesting, it's almost kind of sad, but one of the ways you could solve this scenario in the version of the game where you could kick animals is you could just kick Paprika and she would run away. But, you know, this time I'm doing the more humane way of talking. Oh, and here comes the shipping where Mega Man turns to Trombone after getting Paprika away, and she just has big, sparkly anime eyes on her face before immediately turning angry and saying, you just mind your own business. Very, very third grade. I think I like you, so I'm going to make fun of you. Good stuff. Mega Man's confused because he's a teenage boy or pre-teenage. It doesn't concern him. He doesn't know how things are. So, I guess I'll just go back and talk to Roll. I mean, everyone's gone. The city's evacuated. Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say, one thing I could do because I've lost some health is I can go over to a soda machine, buy a soda, drink it, and heal. Or, if I don't mind adding a bit to my evil stat, I can kick the soda machine in a soda can. Either the soda can will come out or the machine will explode. It's kind of funny when the machine explodes because it hurts you, and you still get the morality decrease, but you know, the game kind of giving you a little like, hey, we see what you're trying to do, we're not gonna let you. So again, to Apple Market, and it's empty now. Again, like like something probably is really happening. And again, something cool is that there was no cutscene or whatever. The game didn't yell at me being like, oh my gosh, everyone's evacuating because we think there's a pirate invasion that's about to happen. It's something that just I slowly discovered on my own because I was curious. I mean, I could go through the game without ever knowing, but the game trusted me enough to convey the story in the way it is, you know, kind of using the medium, the way it's set up to. By medium, I mean kind of the conventions of a JRPG town where there's a bunch of people that you can interact with and you can peer into their lives. You don't have to if you don't want to. And you know, but it does it in a more naturalistic way, I think, than other games, or at least something I appreciate about this game, in that it's not like the NPCs are spouting expository dialogue at you. You're just overhearing parts of their lives or their thoughts, you know, like the girl arguing with her grandfather about how we need to get out because there's danger, you know? It's not like she was turning to Mega Man and being like, oh, my grandpa, he doesn't want to get out because he thinks we'll be okay from the pirate attack. You know, no, it's more naturalistic than that. And, you know, not saying that it doesn't, or it takes a genius to figure that out, but, you know, like, it's the tiny things. Like I'll keep saying, I should just call this entire podcast Tiny Things I Notice About Video Games. Anyways, there is one person left behind, though, in Apple Market, and it's the Lightning Parts store owner that we saved. He's saying, hey, Mega Man, we're always open for business, no matter what. If we can do anything for you, just ask. You know, probably because it's the only shop that has a gameplay significance. So I'm going to actually go into it because I haven't gone into it since it's actually opened. So I can go in and I can start using the money that I've got. So things that I can get in here, at least for now, there's not a lot, but one of the ways the progression in this game works, like I said, it's money is a very precious resource. It's used to upgrade the special weapons you create, and also, you know, buy these kind of upgrades from the shop, which are always available. There's two upgrades. So I can buy extra life, like just add to my life gauge, and every time I buy an extra life, the price goes up a bit. So the first one costs 500 zenny, the next one 1,000, and it keeps going up from there. Next one's 3,000. I think I'll buy one more, so I just bought 3 little bars, add to my life gauge, and I'm going to buy an energy canteen, which is kind of a the game's like recovery item, and you can always go in to refill it. It only has a certain number of uses before every time you refill it at the shop. But I can also buy upgrades for the energy canteen, so I can increase the capacity of how much it will heal me. That costs slightly less than health, but it almost acts as an extension of that. So I can also buy some parts that increase my buster stats, increase attack, which affects how much damage my bullets do. My regular bullets, like not the special weapon ones. I can increase the range, which makes sense of how far my bullets can travel. Energy, which is how many bullets I can shoot before I have to recharge. Energy, range, attack. I thought there was one more. Wait, I'm gonna check this because I feel like I'm having a brain fart. This is bad. Energy parts. Oh yeah, attack, energy, range, and rapid. Rapid being how fast you shoot, your rate of fire. The reason I wasn't thinking of it is because there's no parts that they're selling that increase your rate of fire. So I have enough money to buy all of them, so I'm just going to go ahead and buy all of them for completionist's sake, even though they're offering the upgraded version of some of them. So I'm going to go in and look at my buster parts. So I know that there's a boss coming up that kind of moves around fast, so I'm going to change out my Power Razor, which was increase my attack for the second stage Power Razor, which I just bought, so my attack is increased by 2 instead of by 1. And I think I'll increase my range by 2 as well, because I'm going to be facing off against some, or it'll be useful for the fight that's coming up. Okay, cool. Oh, there's an NPC hiding in the shop too. What are you saying? It looks like a young kid like me. He's asking, "Are you a digger? I'm here doing research on the ruins of this island here." Oh, so he's a student. Gotcha. There sure are a lot of them, aren't there? Good stuff, NPC. I guess we all can't be useful. Anyways, so just did my upgrades, spent all my money. I'm gonna go back out, talk to Roll, and save, because we're about to get to the, again, what I've called before, the boss rush. Yeah, so as soon as we get out, we get a little scene. We see the Servbots getting into their ship. Aye, aye, Miss Tron, they say as they fly off. Something's about to happen. And Roll calls us over, so I'm going to go talk to her. Camera pans in. She's asking where Gramps is. Talking to the mayor. Hope he'll be okay. If you're hearing this, I'm so sorry that I'm just repeating what she's saying. But anyways, she's saying like there's ships that have just flown past here and they're heading over to the city. I wonder what they are. Oh, and as she says that, more ships are heading over. Yep, I guess these rumors about a pirate invasion were true. I mean, of course they were true. This is an action game. Like, we're going to need to see some action. Can't just all be talking in JRPG towns. Oh, shoot, that is a loud sound effect. And then the music starts playing. This is what I love about cinematics design in games, when you have the silence going into danger music. Like stuff's about to happen. Sorry, that was so rambly. And Roll is running ahead into the city to see if Gramps is alright. She's pretty brave, actually. Kudos to her for running in after just hearing a giant explosion. I would hope that Data, our little monkey friends, around here so I can save, but I think I'll be on the other side when I go in. It's oh yeah, so I run in and Roll is running ahead. This is a cool little thing. Again, another little detail. When I get into Apple Market, the music is different now, as it should be. Like, We're in Danger was playing a more ominous theme. The city's under attack, and like we're reflecting that in the music here. We're about to face something, but as I get in, I just see we're behind Roll and she's running ahead. A text box pops up with the voice added Gramps, and she's going, but the game doesn't stop or anything. It's all still within the game. I can try to run after her, but I mean, of course you're not going to catch her. She's moving at the same speed you are, and she has a head start. And then she goes through the door, meaning we're supposed to go through the door. Not that I wouldn't suspect that already. But there Data is, just standing there, dancing and waiting for us to save. So, Mega Man, why don't you save? Good idea. I'm going to recharge my energy to make sure I'm at full health. I'm going to save because we're about to get to, like I said, a series of dangerous situations, and I wouldn't want to lose any of that. Progress that we did before, and by progress I mean me just talking about the city for a long time. And let's head on in, get some action again. So we get to an interesting change of pace with this section of the game. So we get a bit of cutscene, a bit of story. The police are stopping us from going in. The area is closed off because pirates are attacking. They don't want any innocent people to get hurt, as they should be. The police officer notices us, says, "You can't go in either, it's dangerous." Mega Man, though, just ignores him, asks what's happening, and the police are saying what we suspected. The pirates are attacking, just like they said they would. I keep talking about foreshadowing, where I think it's kind of maybe emerging as I'm examining this, that there's a theme of prophecy, of inevitability throughout this entire game, and it'll become more apparent later on, as we learn that there actually is a doomsday prophecy that we're fighting against. But even from the beginning, there's the chatters around town saying pirates are going to attack, and pirates attack. It's just as the game goes on, these risks and challenges and threats are going to get stronger or bigger and bigger. More cataclysmic, appropriately, because the game will go on. So Mega Man just ignores the police and runs away. Got some great disparity in voice acting quality, where the first police officer sounds way more interested in Mega Man's well-being than the second one. Could just be a personality thing. So Mega Man walks up, and we're facing off against 3 tanks, all of different colors. And a surf bot comes out saying, "Where are the bonds?" And we get our first antagonist intro, where they explicitly say, "We're pirates. We're here attacking the town, and we're kind of the first line of defense for Tron, who's attacking the City Hall section. We're not letting anyone through because Miss Tron will punish us." Yeah, Miss Tron is definitely a dom, I think is what we're suggesting here. Very into punishment. So we get into our first quote-unquote mission, not mission in the general sense, but what I mean is there are certain segments in the game where it explicitly says mission start and gives you a objective. This objective is get the key to the gate. One of the 3 surf bots has the key. They can pass it back and forth between them, so you'll have to figure out which one of them has it. So one of the ways this game kind of breaks up the pacing of the more exploratory, not aimless, but self-guided, I guess you would say, dungeoneering aspects of the game is by throwing these missions at you, where they kind of present you with a combat scenario, but switch up the objective a tiny bit to kind of force you to think on your feet or approach the scenario differently than you would any of the combat scenarios presented in dungeons. I just realized that the way I explained that is how I explained certain parts of Howie and Yarlo while we were developing that. For people who don't know, Howie and Yarlo was the student senior project that I led over the past year at USC Games program. But anyways, if you're curious about that, send me an email or a message, and yeah, I could talk for days about that experience. Anyways, so we're presented with this get the key. So it's not just like we're gonna have to blow up these dudes, even though we totally could do that. That's not the most effective way to do it. We probably take too much damage because there's more stuff we have to go on. But they're presenting us with a different combat scenario that we have to approach differently. Usually it's in these more narrative focused sections. Again, to break up the pacing, it would almost be like the self-directedness of the dungeoneering might almost be seen as aimless, because it is kind of more free without this narrative propulsion that these missions are providing. Notice also that there's been music this entire time, whereas usually when I'm in more of the free segments, there is no music. The game, every aspect of the game right now is trying to propel us forward to match the narrative propulsion propulsion of what's going on with the story, the pirate attack, and kind of getting everything set in motion. This is going to be a particularly long mission segment, especially because we're going to be establishing more. Like, this is the Bond's introduction. Anyways, so before I start talking anymore, I'm just going to start this mission. They're saying that each of the tanks has different capabilities. One is built for combat, one's built for speed, and one's built for endurance. Basically, you're put into the bigger city area, and just facing off against these 3 tanks. Who just start by standing still and shooting at you. So I'm going to just circle strafe around them because no one can hit me if I'm circle strafing. And once you hit them enough, their health bars actually appear. You can go and destroy these guys. You see one of them has a key, and you have to destroy the one that is holding the key. So another thing that happens here is kind of a secondary invisible objective is as the battle rages on, these tanks will destroy more of the city. And that's actually an important detail later on because one of the quote-unquote continuous side quests of this game is rebuilding the city after the pirate attack. Because I'm just so good at this game, I just destroyed the offensive tank rather quickly without it dealing too much damage. There's also an airship flying around to kind of keep the player on their toes, because I could definitely, these tanks, if you just focus on them one by one, their attacks are pretty easy to avoid. They don't deal a lot of damage, but I can deal a decent amount of damage to them. But by having this kind of airship thing, that I'm pretty sure that I could destroy it, but that's not what I'm focused on. It makes sure that I'm not just treating this entire thing like a cakewalk. It's keeping the stress on me. Another thing keeping the stress on me, I'm realizing, is trying to go through this the most action-packed and time-intensive segment of this game already, while also commentating on it. I don't know how these Let's Players do this with these more action-intense games. But anyways, I just destroyed the one with the key, so I'm going to touch the key to end this mission. Got away with only like 1 building being destroyed so far, but that's okay. More are going to be destroyed because all of a sudden this spider-looking tank shows up. The surf bots that were in the tanks are running away, apologizing to Tron. We're so sorry, they say. And then we see Tron in the cockpit of this spider mech. Super great purple lighting in it, though. Oh my gosh, I want a room that looks like that. Just purple. The entire interior is purple, kind of like her pinkish outfit. We're getting a character moment where Tron Bonne is getting very confused. Why is the blue boy the one who's fighting us? Why was he helping me before, but now he's defending the city? But anyway, she has her anime outbursts with very angry looking, big mouth screaming. But yeah, I just want to remark there's just glowing green lights in her purple robot interior. Looks super freaking cool. I want a room that looks like that. This game isn't afraid to use color. That's something great, and use very bold colors. This spider tank that I'm looking at, and by spider tank I mean like it doesn't have like 8 legs, but it has like 4 like long appendages that hold it off the ground that are all rolly. So she is jumped right in front of us and is now yelling at Mega Man, saying, "You're ruining our plan." Mega Man's just looking up at her dumbfounded, and kind of in a funny way, Tron's remarking at how clueless he looks. It's an interesting relationship. I wouldn't even call her very villainous, but just that she invites Mega Man to join the pirates again. I want to point out the irony that we end up doing more looting than these guys ever do, but just because we help the town, they like us, so they allow us to do it. But anyways, we're gonna get into, I guess, what is the second real boss fight of this game. I was forgetting about the tutorial guy. And this is where the game actually does start to challenge the player. So I guess the tanks were kind of like the warm up, but now we've got the real first boss. So the tank starts out the boss fight by immediately charging at you. This girl means business, and that's cool because like this is our first like real kind of gameplay interaction with her. I do want to feel like she is an antagonistic force and not just this silly character that we're kind of seeing. Even though, yeah, like she is silly, and that's kind of part of the appeal. But I don't want there to have like silliness, but without the threat. I guess some people would argue that there is no threat, but like I remember like the first time playing this game, like it was rather intense, especially because we're getting like boss music for the first time. I mean, besides, I guess the second time I forgot. I think every boss has its own music there. At least all the more story focused boss, every one of the like Tron or the Bond family robots has its own theme. So this boss it's rather simple. It has like one melee dash attack, and I already defeated it. big explosion I was talking about, and then anime burnt to a crisp. Trombone somersaults out of it. Mega Man apologizes for destroying her tank, which is funny. Tron's impressed and she's going to go away. But again, so the boss design, it's big, it has a decent amount of health, but besides that initial charge, it's not too super dangerous. It has a melee charge attack where it just comes for you, but it only travels on the streets, which is an interesting limitation that, again, makes sure that the player isn't too overwhelmed yet. It's a really nice escalation of difficulty now that I think about it. It does have a ranged attack, which is kind of cool looking, where like it combines its front two wheels and pushes them out at you to just send a stream of explosions at you. Again, I love anything that has to do with explosions, but especially like abstract stream of explosion attack. That's super cool. And then it has a kind of, I guess what's the most dangerous and hard to avoid attack, where it spins and it just shoots out bombs and kind of this like bullet hell spinning pattern. But again, because they're bombs, they kind of travel slow. They're lobbed at you. They're not immediately dangerous like like a gun projectile or something would be. And also, the attack has a rather long warm-up. The boss starts to spin a couple times, and then it shoots out the bombs, and the bombs lob in the air. It's it seems like it's dangerous, and it has a rather large area of effect. But there's enough information for the player to avoid it reliably. Another note, like I said before. The buildings do get destroyed in these battles, so I got away out of this one pretty well. It looks like only 4 buildings are destroyed, so I'm not gonna have to spend too much money in the rebuild our town side quest. It's still a good amount, but whatever. I'm just looking through some garbage pails again that I noticed while I talk about the destruction of the town, but. Again, a good note and use of the space through time. I am seeing this town before when everything's busy. I see it when there's the notes of the pirates and everyone kind of scrambles to get away. I see them once everyone's evacuated, and now I see them in the midst of the pirate attack and things are getting destroyed. Like, good thing. Like, I hope that Grandpa girl was able to convince her grandpa to get out, because yeah, straight up these buildings were being shelled and destroyed. Kind of, if I want to make it like dark parallel to there's the idea that all Japanese media after World War II is about the bomb and about destruction, or like there's pervading themes of destruction and destruction of civilian life and homes and living, and it's showing up right here. This is our first taste of cataclysm, and that's a consistent theme that will happen throughout the game, but we see it happening here right in front of our eyes. Thankfully I'm pretty good at this game now because I've done it a good amount, so yeah, got away. It could have been worse. Every building could have been destroyed, but thankfully the library is still standing, and a lot of these houses are still standing. That's pretty good. So Data is standing by the door that we need to use the key on after defeating the boss. The game understands pacing-wise, like I'm partway through this, what I'm kind of dubbing the intro boss rush. So definitely don't want to go back, lose to the next half, and have to replay another 20 minutes of boss fight. So Data saves my game for me. I go and I use the key on the door to go to City Hall, and this is where things are going to get serious, or at least this is what the game is building up for. And it kind of, I'm not sure how I actually feel about it. The game introduces this part of the boss rush with a news segment. We see this Catalog's Island TV news anchor standing in front of City Hall as it's being destroyed and attacked by these kind of construction-looking Tronbon robots. Sorry, I keep calling them Tronbon because that's the girl pirate's name. The Bond family robots. And she's basically just kind of explaining the mission objective. I'm going to skip through it because it's explained in the mission start objective. It's just saying defend City Hall. Certain robots are attacking certain buildings, and you need to first take out the carrier robots who are flying around the sky that are dropping these robots that are destroying the town. This is where we kind of introduce the idea that the destruction of this attack is real and things will really be destroyed. And now we're kind of facing it head on, just because we've proven that we can take on the Bonds by defeating Tronbon's first robot. The game, though, actually cares about these buildings beyond just in a future recovery effort kind of way, in that if City Hall gets destroyed here, we lose the game, probably because the understanding being that we weren't able to save Grandpa. That would be really tragic. This game's kind of really tragic, or allows for some really tragic possibilities if you think about it. Anyways, so this battle I've always thought was really interesting. It took me a few times to figure out after playing again recently, having forgotten how it worked. Where it might explicitly say, and I just forgot, but kind of what happens is you have to deal with these two threats. There's the threat of the robots on the ground who just kind of look like bulldozers, and they're destroying things and they're causing damage that you're going to have to rebuild later if you want to complete the game. And they're threatening to attack City Hall where Grandpa is, and then you have the carrier bots who replenish the robots so that you can't just defeat all of them and not have to worry about completing the mission objective anymore. If you defeat one of the crawler ground robots, these flying robots will leave the map, which makes it more annoying because you have to defeat them, and also. Yeah, they'll leave the map and carry a new one back, so you can never feel safe. You are always in danger of losing, of things being destroyed. However, once they've reached their capacity for robots on the screen, because the game wants to be kind of fair. And not just bombard you. The robots just start flying around and dropping bombs on you. Again, making you always hyper aware of the space you're fighting in, which is so important for action games in general. Especially one a 3D action game like this where it's all about space. Adding that other dimension, allows for us to do interesting things with those dimensions, and this is what that game is doing. Forcing the player to be aware of this space. It's kind of I'm not sure if I'm talking it up too much, but I think it's actually really good of this game, even though it is again so early 3D. It's like the developers were actually thinking, okay, we're in 3D now, we're making a 3D action game. What makes this fundamentally different from everything we've been doing before, and how do we capitalize on that? It's kind of a consistent thing that I see in all aspects of this game. I talk about it in the art direction a lot, but it's even showing up in the design here. So I was hyper-focusing on destroying the carrier bots because I know they're pretty annoying, and how they can constantly just bring back these robots that destroy things. But in lieu of that, a lot of these buildings in the City Hall area have been destroyed. which is okay because they don't cost as much to repair, which is funny because they were always the nicer looking ones. I think it's just because there's less of them and they take longer to destroy. So News Lady is interrupting me because City Hall is catching fire, and the game wants you to know, like, oh hey, you should probably be paying attention again to City Hall, which is good because besides like the kind of changing like textures on City Hall, and the model does change with kind of how damaged it is. There's no explicit health bar or whatever, but it does kind of show the wear and tear that's being thrown on it by changing and smoking, and like becoming more crumbled as it sustains more damage. Just a very basic like visual sorry, what's the word? Like visual signaling and information sharing. But anyways, got a robot who's stuck on the corner at the top, looking over on the bottom park area. It's kind of funny to see him. The AI of these guys is not super great, and I remember noticing that on my last playthrough. But whatever, I'll exploit it. So the mission ends once you defeat every robot. And then after a while, a cutscene triggers of we see a robot with a binky in its mouth. So this is the baby of the Bond family, who is actually just a robot, but they treat the robot as like their little brother or whatever. I forgot its name. I'm sure it'll come up in the cutscene. Anyways, I'm pausing the game right now because I took a bit of damage during that last part, and this boss actually hits pretty hard. Most of it, and its attacks are. I mean, I've seen people play it and dodge most of the attacks pretty easily. I'm not too good at actually dodging these attacks because this character has like this missile attack, and the missiles are like hone in on you, and I haven't really figured out how to consistently avoid them, so I'm just making sure that I'm not gonna die immediately as I get into this part of the game. I'm also gonna change my buster parts out. Something that is kind of cool about this game, I think, is that you can just, it doesn't place any barriers on the character customization or whatever, which some RPGs kind of have a tendency to try to do that. Like in the middle of battle, I can change the buster parts I have equipped, which change my basic weapon, what I'm doing my attack with. I can I'm gonna change it so that I just put all of my parts into attack because I want to take this guy out rather quickly, and it's not like I'm playing a range game here. He doesn't actually move around too much. Often he's coming for me, so this isn't a range game here. So I'm just going to do the typical circle strafing, and the baby starts with the missile attack immediately, which is unfortunate because, but yeah, so I was able to dodge it by just jumping twice. We don't have the like big jump yet, so it's not as easy to dodge things. Anyways, so this boss just flies around. Like I said, it has it just got hit by the missiles again. This is not going super well. Just has the kind of 4 attacks I can think of. 2 of them ranged. One of them is like throwing the missiles at you, which you just need to just run away from. A short range, like I'm gonna punch at things attack, which is mostly just used for destruction. He'll like destroy trees and stuff. I think it's kind of funny that the robots here, as part of their destruction plan, just destroy trees and signposts in addition to the buildings, which is unfortunate because the trees are rather pretty. So I just jumped right into a building. That's kind of the game's camera working against me, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so floating big robot baby. Kind of funny that the biggest and most intimidating Bond that I faced so far is the little brother baby one with the binky in its mouth. But this game has a sense of humor, like I said, when it's not in the scary underground parts. Alright, I keep getting hit by the missiles, so I need to heal again. Just use the last of my life canteen. But the boss is at like a quarter health. I should be able to take it out, just as long as I make sure I give myself enough here's that word again, space, to avoid all the attacks. Spatial awareness is super big in this section. Probably as it should be, but I want to make sure I'm not running into things like I just did, so I can actually avoid that annoying missile attack, which I got hit by again. But only a few more hits should work. Yeah, so again, there's like 3 attacks that the boss will actually use to try to damage you, with an adorable sound effect with each one, going like "hi" and "ooh" and stuff like that when it tries to hit you. So one of the attacks is it shoots out its binky at you, which I guess was just more like a party streamer. Anyways, I beat it, yes. So kind of funny that the big robot body blows up and leaves just the head behind. A pirate ship comes by with an oversized cartoon magnet to pick it up and take it away because, you know, Babu, as the little baby robot says. Yeah, and we're just left with a cutscene now, so... Thankfully, that boss normally gives me trouble. I was able to defeat it in one try without losing all of my health. Good stuff. And now we see the big green pirate guy that we saw in the attract mode cutscene. He's reading in his library. Looks very posh actually. And he's saying, you know, oh, I wonder what happened to Tron and. Baby Bond. I wish I heard what he said about what the Baby Bond's name was so I could refer to it by its actual name. I guess I can look it up before I do my next episode. And then he turns on the TV because it's almost time for his show. And then, you know, emergency broadcast. We see a rendered picture or a pixel art picture of Mega Man standing in front of the blown up thing. I gotta say, the cutscene writing in this game isn't super great. You know, it's very basic. It's very shonen anime, like very exaggerated. Oh, I wonder, you know, that kind of thing that I was talking about before, where everything's kind of spelled out, which is a weird contrast to the stuff I was saying about how the writing and the game design works in the actual game. But you know, it's a nice relief, I think, a little reprieve from the more serious and subtle stuff that's going on. So, you know, as soon as we turn on and see the news segment and the villain sees that his siblings didn't accomplish the raid as well as they thought they would, now he had this like big surprise expression. Now he's wandering around the room and yelling out his villain monologue plan, and now he's doing a straight up evil laugh. With straight up red eyes. Oh, but we gotta put the comedy back in. And then, oh yeah, he wonders if the Bonds are actually okay because they haven't come back yet. They're okay, don't worry. Nothing bad would happen. Yeah, Roll gives us the mission complete and Mega Man fist bumps. I gotta say, I think that's kind of funny that Mega Man fist pumps at every accomplishment in this game. Anyways, Roll comes in, is going to congratulate us, saying, come on, let's go look for Gramps. So we're going to go into City Hall. Funny little detail, you don't know, or you probably wouldn't notice unless you played the games a few times before, but the inside of City Hall does actually deteriorate depending on how beat up it gets during this past section. So it doesn't look that great. I didn't do as well in that last segment as I did in the first one. Like the big painting that used to be on the wall is now just crumbled to dust. But you know, Gramps and the mayor are okay, and now they're introducing to me that, as I was talking about before, there's going to be a side quest that plays out throughout the rest of the entire game where we want to rebuild the town. And by rebuilding the town, people will be coming back. We'll get to see more of the game and kind of allow for some side quests and stuff that are happening. So yeah, so that was intro boss rush, which ends with the mayor giving us a key item, which they call the Class B license. The idea being that in this game you can legally go look for treasure and stuff in these ruins if you have permission from the island, which we just got with this Class B license, which means we can now go into the some of the dungeons on this game. And yeah, so that's probably something I'll talk about next time as the game opens up at this point. Kind of was talking about before, the more exploratory nature, where this is kind of where I would draw the act break, or this is where the end of the beginning of the game is. This is where we're going to be kind of put out on our own. So yeah, so I just talked over the entire cutscene. I'm gonna talk to these guys and see where I'm supposed to go. So I kind of talk about what will happen next time. So I think next time, yeah, they're talking about checking out some ruins. So we're probably gonna start going into a bit of the dungeoneering next time. Yeah. So Oh, and as I try to leave, Roll brings us back. Wait a minute, I'm going with you. Good. I didn't expect any less. Yeah, so oh, and she shows that she fixed up the junk shop car. So we've got our own support cart now, which will allow for quick travel between different parts of the island. It'll become useful, and that's where a lot of stuff will be happening with the the support stuff and the item synthesis, all that kind of fun. I was just about to say roguelike. I have freaking modern indie game design on the brain. Not roguelike, but loot game, dungeoneering, Diablo-esque stuff will be happening. Yeah, and to make sure that we don't lose any of that narrative propulsion, we have a cutscene showing some police officers racing by, and maybe that's what we should check out. But that's probably something for next time. So yeah, that was a pretty high-intensity episode, which is good, and kind of the beginning with a bang as we open up for next time. Yeah, so that was a lot to take in, but I hope I was able to say something useful that you guys could have enjoyed. So with the end of that cutscene, I'm going to save and log off for now. So yeah, thanks again for listening. Again, my name is Colin Horgan. You just listened to episode 3 of SDX Crits Mega Man Legends. Yeah.